Good day, all of my fellow techers. What's going on today? I have my dearest dear friend, Miss Trisha Dixon, on with us. Hi, Trish. How are you?
Hello.
And our newest member, who is insanely popular and super cool, and I hope to someday be like her when I grow up. We have the amazing FirewallFox. Say hi.
Hello. Thank you for having me. I'm super excited.
Absolutely. We're excited to have you. March is... Trish, what is March actually called? Is it...
Women's Appreciation Month?
Women Appreciation Month? Is that exactly what it's called? So I said that on a call the other day, and somebody said, no, Ray, we appreciate women every month. And I'm like, yes, I know.
Slay.
But it's the truth. But it's, you know, it's officially
Yes.
Women Appreciation Month. So last year, we did a whole series of podcasts, and Trish was one of the people that we interviewed. And we're doing that again this year. And you are one of 4 that we have scheduled right now. We did one last night, obviously. I'm still recovering from it. We did yours, which has been really fun. Thank you again for being on. The community was interested. They're like, okay, this is cool. Bring on another woman in the organization, because I have always felt that there needs to be more women in this business and in this industry. Mm-hmm. Because quite frankly, I'm tired of talking to dudes all day.
Yeah.
So
Me too.
I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Literally.
Trish does a great job of like wrangling us all in and keeping us together. So, no, I think it's good, and I think the female opinion it's so insightful on so many things. Like, guys are very tactical, right, for the most part, and women have this thought out process. Like, we see a wall, we want to run through it. Women are like, well, there's probably a door 10 feet to the right if you would just look. And, like, I think it's important to have both in an organization. You're not going to be successful. Mm-hmm. So, I think it's awesome that we were able to get you on, and I think the community's going to appreciate it. And, we appreciate, you as well, getting our word out and our message about our community out to your members, because there are probably a ton of people in your Discord or that follow you that are like, man, I wish I had a group that I could help. Or I wish there was a group that, I could reach out to and ask questions to. And that's what we're here for. We're here to elevate the game and make the entire world of technology better. And it's people like you that are in here doing the damn thing every day, making it better. I mean, you're making your own community better. You making your community better is taking a group of people and elevating it. And we're doing, like, what you're doing sounds so very similar to what we're trying to do as well. I think there's a lot of synergies there. So I applaud you and appreciate all you're doing.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you. So one of the members in our community recommended that I go out and find you, because you're doing some really cool things on Instagram, on Twitch, on TikTok. You're all over the place. So tell us a little bit about yourself.
So I think if you know me just from social media and what you can gather from that, I do a lot of tech work. It's kind of the brand. I'm a help desk technician full-time, and then part-time I work as a break fix repair technician solely for Apple products, which is super controversial.
I was going to say that. Oh no, you have a Mac hater.
I know,
For you.
God.
Anytime I make any kind of conversation or post about anything Apple, like, it takes off no matter what it is. It's a very hot topic. But other than that, I do my free time of social media. I haven't graduated, but I'm about to graduate with a marketing degree, which is always so funny, because that's why I'm so excited to be here, is everybody wants my advice on IT, and it's like, I don't know how you end up in IT. That's like kind of the joke, is you just land there. So I have advice, but marketing is just my main priority, and I use that obviously with every platform I'm on.
Okay. So, let's go in a little bit of that. So your help desk. So what kind of issues do you handle on a day-to-day basis? I do a lot of admin type help desk work. So it's a lot of office stuff, HR, all that fun stuff. It's a majority of, like, your favorite thing that you could always get as a technician, printer problems, just normal power issues, syncing stuff. It's very basic and minimal things to a normal me and you maybe, but I've come to learn over the year that I've been there
it's not normal at all to know. But it's a lot of just, little petty tasks, I'd say. I don't do anything too crazy, with like, a little networking and little dabble of this, little dabble of that. But majority of the time, it's baseline tech things that you would normally do on your own at home.
So you did say that you don't really know how you got into IT or how people really get into IT, but how did you end up in the situation that you're in IT?
So in high school, we had a great program. And if they're watching this, shout out to my 4 tech teachers. They were the best, and I wouldn't be here without them. But they offered a program where you just basically spend one class period, and the students would come bring you your Chromebooks if there's a problem. And, like, you would have to basically just be help desk for the school. And I gained a lot of knowledge doing that, but I never pursued it. I never thought it was like, oh, like, I want to sit here and figure out people's problems all the time. Otherwise, I would have been a therapist. But after that, I didn't really know what I wanted to do when it comes to jobs. And I'm a big job hopper, but I think it helps, especially in any career, but IT definitely, the experience. And I just kind of take that, and I just kind of went to my first job, which was the repair shop. That was my first full-time job as a IT person. And, I know how to turn on a computer. I know how to, make the basic functions happen. And that's like the biggest thing is like, you just end up somewhere that you can do the bare minimum and you just learn, and it just tumbles from there. And you learn so much more than what you were asking for.
Yeah, I would say don't discredit what you know, because I hear you saying like, oh, I just know the bare minimum, but it takes a lot to work at a help desk because you have to know so many random things, and really the average person, cannot figure all those things out, but you have to be able to troubleshoot Office, and then like you said, like printers, and then it's a workstation, and then occasionally somebody just needs to hit the power button, but you have to be able to think of that.
Yeah. Each task, you're either getting something super repetitive where you're like, okay, I don't need to know the story. I know what the problem is, but thank you. Or it's like something brand new where it's like, okay, you put in a ticket for this. I need to put one in for myself because I don't know it either. But, that's kind of like our magic is, we put in the effort to definitely, we have to figure it out. That's our job.
Yeah, that's the cool thing about being at the help desk is just exposure to so many different areas, because it's really like it can be a launching pad into many different areas of IT, which is awesome because you kind of, you might be dabbling in this or that, but it really helps you figure out what you like, what you're especially good at in the IT world. So
yeah,
okay.
I was just gonna say I have a lot of people that ask me on the daily in my messages and on TikTok and stuff like that. They're always like, where should I go for like college, and like, or what should I pursue? And it's like one of those things that like you definitely can, if you just want to jump the ladder kind of thing, I would pursue, look into it when it comes to college and all that stuff. But most times it's just like you just show up and you just learn so much every single day. There's things I know like the back of my hand, and then every day I learn something new, which is healthy. But I feel like experience is so much more important if you don't know where you want to start, and then, pursue what niche in that area. Cause there's just so many things. It's not like it's this, and this. It melts into each other, and it's crazy.
It really is.
Yeah. And I think your story sounds like a lot of people that I know, myself included, where you just kind of fell into it. It's like you discover you're really good at something and you can figure things out. And then, before you know it, you're in the middle of your career.
Yeah. You just wake up and you're like, what am I doing?
So talk to us a little bit about the break fix work that you do that is just solely for a Mac. And then we can talk some controversy.
Where I work part-time for that, we're partnered with Apple. So we're not just like a third-party shop. Like we honor warranties and Apple Care and all that good stuff. We also sell, but it's kind of we don't promote that as much as the fixing. But at least in where I am, we only have one Apple store in Indiana. And like I said, I live in the southern part of Indiana. So that, like, people, we have people come from like Ohio. Like we are the one place to be because we do honor that. And I think it's super important, and this might just be Apple talk now coming out, but I think it's so important. It sucks the pricing of things. I understand. Like I don't like to tell people the bad news of the repair costs, but it's like third party. It's nice if you're on a budget and it's like super reliable if you need it, but if you have warranties, or if you are like, I'm very authentic about what is in my computer or my phone, like it's worth it to go with it. But a lot of people do have challenges with that, but that's what you sign up for when it's Apple. That's the contract you pay for.
Yeah, that is true. I mean, so Trish said that there is a Mac hater on the call, and it's I have to clarify. I don't hate Macs. I just don't want them in business. I don't hate them. I think they're great residential products. I think they are great consumer products. I think they are great devices for, for personal use. It's just to make them work in a network infrastructure, they're really difficult. You have to install a bunch of other stuff. You have to add other tools just to monitor and maintain them. And the repairs, right? Like anybody, I can hire anybody to repair a Dell laptop or an HP laptop. Whereas if it's a Mac, I'm bringing it to somebody like you, and that's not a problem, assuming I have a Mac store that isn't far away or a Mac repair center. And you already said it, like you're the only one, and that's a little bit of a problem.
Yeah, especially like with PC and stuff like that, you can mix and match a lot of things. And like Apple, obviously, you really can't. And I could go on Amazon and, put something new in my computer right now. I can't do that with Apple. I could try, but I can't promise that it's not going to like turn off one day for no reason. But it's definitely a decision. It's the divide. It is what it is. People choose it. I'm a little bit of both. I was a sole Apple girl for such a long time. But I actually had this conversation on one of my TikToks today, because I do prefer iPhones over Androids and all the other kind of stuff, which kind of dabbles into that. And somebody had asked me, like, what's your genuine reason for that? And as much as, like, it's an iPhone, it's a status symbol, I guess at the end of the day, some people look at it. But it's more like I sit here for 12 hours a day helping end users do these intricate, like, tickets or repairs. And it's like, I want to sit down on my couch and, like, turn my brain off and look at simplicity. And that's what, like, if you want simple, if you want cleaner, like, totally Apple all the way. But if you're one of those people that wants to get into the nitty gritty of it all and like play around and customize it, then like it's not for you, and that's okay. But there's so much to think about when it comes to that, and I feel some majority of the crowd does look into that of like, this is what I want. But then there's people who sign up for it and they don't know what they're getting into.
So what you just said was so much nicer than anything I've ever said about those products. Like, you so politically correctly put that. I mean, I applaud you for that. That's pretty good. Good job.
It's a hot topic.
Yeah. I mean, you must have had a lot of experience having to argue that one way or the other. So
yeah.
And most of the conversations you'll see in our Slack channel are people that bring up an Apple product and me just telling them to shut up. At the end of the day. You'll see that. I'm like, I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. I'm like, I just don't care.
I don't want to hear it either anymore now, but I understand.
No, but I mean, truth be told, and I'll say it, Jeff, I'm talking to you and some of the other people that constantly yell at me. I think they make a phenomenal consumer product. Period. I do. If you want to play in the Apple sandbox world, there is, quite frankly, no better. They do it better than anybody else. I just don't want to support it in a business. That's my stance on it. That's it.
Fair. In DMs and all that kind of stuff, it gets so crowded, and like having to talk to Apple where it's like you buy like a Dell or something and it's like totally fine, you can do what you want. Why do I have to like talk to Apple to set up a business like MDM? It's like crazy how that all just works with them. They've got a real chokehold on everybody, that's for sure.
Yeah. But, and the counter argument is that the stuff just works, right? It just works. You don't have to think about it. So I will give it credit, Trish. And, as I'm watching you at your watch, I'll give it credit. I'll give it credit.
I'm promoting, yeah.
Here we go.
Yeah, well, we're here.
I will just put my superior Android device down. It's okay. You guys will catch up someday. It's all good.
So just a quick question about the work that you do with the Apple products. Now, are you mainly troubleshooting like software issues, like, or do you have to troubleshoot hardware issues with these devices as well?
Majority of my responsibility, where I like to put myself, is to do the help desk, the software side of it all. I am certified in 2 areas of repairs. Well, off the top of my head, I can remember. But we have a team, and the guys that I do work with, they seem to prefer to stay in the back. And I'm a huge people person, and there's definitely days where it's like, you're like, what are we doing? Like, what are you asking me? Like hit the update button? That's what you were asking me about? But then there's other days where it's like, I've had days where it's like a customer was telling me about his phone, and then it just turns into like, do you know how to play euchre? And I just like the customer interaction, even though that's like the number one thing people hate about help desk. And I have my days with it as well. Don't get me wrong, but I don't know. It helps me. Hearing how the end user thinks helps me for the next one, because I'm like, well, if that guy thought that, then like, what are they thinking? So it helps me give direction and better prepare myself for what's to come.
Right, that's awesome. So people have to make appointments with you, or you're just like literally taking walk-ins? So somebody's coming up to you and they're handing you their device, and
we do both. They'll call like if they have Apple Care, you have like that on 24/7 support. And they'll set appointments for them to come in, but we take walk-ins, and if it's just a simple question of like, how does this work, or how do I back this up? And it's like, here's this, and I'll send them on their way. It's a huge partnership between Apple, because then like when it comes to repairs, it's like AirPods, we have to send out to them, and they have to test them. Like, we're just not allowed to test them. We don't get to make the call. Then they'll send them back, and if something's wrong, it's wrong. Or if we need a part, then it's like, we have to wait for that part, and it's such a headache, because it's like we can't have a stash of them for some reason anymore. And like repair times, it's like that makes it longer for the customer. And I love Apple products, okay? This is not a sponsor, but the whole industry of it all it's a huge headache, not just for the end user, but obviously for the techs themselves, because at the end of the day, we're the ones having to break that bad news of price and timeline and how it all goes down. So it's never the greatest days, but at least we have an in with them, I suppose.
No, and that's good. And what is roughly, and I know everything differs from this repair to this repair, but what is an average repair cost of any consumer coming in?
So if there's 2 ways to split it. There's like Apple Care, and a lot of people kind of get that super confused, because Apple Care, you do, especially with like MacBooks, you pay like a heavy number for that Apple Care. You're paying like $200 extra, maybe $300 on top of what you just paid, maybe a $2,000 MacBook Pro. And you do pay that upfront cost, but there is a deductible cost for your repairs, and that throws a lot of people off. So if we're going to go with those numbers, a screen's like $99. Anything that's the bottom case is $299. And if the whole computer is broken, it's $299 to replace it as well. Out of warranty stuff, yeah, it does get muddy. Most times, if we're going to stay up with the M1 prices, screens are probably looking around three to six at most. And then bottom cases, definitely, I mean, it depends on the damage, but I've seen them outcost the price of a new machine, and it's very common. And it's so awkward to tell somebody who has like a MacBook Pro they just bought last year damaged, and I'm like, go buy another one. Like, it's way better for your pocket. Like, that sounds crazy, but just go buy another one. So those really fluctuate, and it's all, it's just about the pieces and all that kind of stuff. But a lot of people, you check out the like REP programs if they're still available for like older MacBook stuff. You save, it's like a recall basically, and Apple will not promote that stuff. But if you look it up, a lot of people are eligible for a lot of free repairs, and they just don't know it.
Yeah, no, I wanted to go back to your customers and your walk-ins, and I'm wondering how many people insist they didn't drop their phone in like water and try to get a free repair.
It's crazy, because like what we'll do is we'll bring it in, and we don't charge them up front. We'll evaluate it, and then we kind of call them and give them a quote, and they can decide if they want to fix it. But my first question is like, has it been near liquid? And I live kind of near a college area, so it's a huge problem because it's like, is there beer on this keyboard? There's a reason why it's sticky. Like, I'm not silly. But they insist, especially with corrosion, we can tell that we've got the LCIs inside Macs or indicators. But it's such an issue because especially you'll call them and be like, listen, we found liquid damage. This is what's going on. And they'll blame you first. Okay, they'll blame you first. They'll get upset because they can't come to terms with it. And I'm sure some of these people, they have kids, they have animals, whatever, anything could happen. But it's definitely the first call is to blame the tech, sit with it, and then realize maybe something else could have happened. And I mean, at that point, you just have to accept that it's broken. Like, what else are you going to do?
Yeah.
But we've had some calls where people insist that we've manipulated their device. And it's like, I don't have time for that. Like, even if I really, really had a bad day, like, it's just not worth that.
Yeah, it's definitely not. So have you had any especially like difficult customers dealing with like not accepting that either they broke their device or it's out of warranty? Like, how do you handle that customer service perspective?
When it comes to the denial of the incident, it's usually let me call you back and think about it. They sit with it, they'll sleep on it, and it's pretty good. But the customers that get mad about out of warranty stuff, it's so hard because like I empathize with them so much. Like, I understand, I know it sucks, but they don't see the empathy. They just see me as the salesperson, I guess. And so to make that connection is just so hard. Once they hear the number or they hear what the problem is, like whatever connection was there, it's gone. Just because it's like, you're here for money, and it's like, listen, I'm not Apple, but it's either you do it or you can go to third party. It's just a matter of if you want to keep warranties or if you trust those kind of repairs, you're more than welcome to. But like, don't take it out on me or the technicians that are in the store.
Yeah, for sure. Now, how busy do you normally get?
It fluctuates.
You're like the only shop in a pretty big area.
Yeah. Like I said, I live near a college town, so definitely during the summer, it dies down in a way where it's like, it's not your normal beer breakage and all that kind of stuff. But all the locals and the older folks in the area, they come creeping out, and that, I call it like the summer of questions, because that's their time to come in, and they'll ask, they'll come in and ask me questions that have nothing to do with Mac. I sat with a guy, helped him replace the batteries in his home phone one day. So they'll come
awesome.
out. We have a Best Buy, we have things like that, but the break fix shop is locally owned. It's a small company. He's owned it for 20 years. So it's like, we're really personable with who we work with, even though it's like we have this giant thing over our head of like Apple, blah, 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 blah. It's like me and the rest of the employees in there, like, we really care about like these people. One, because it's like, I empathize. Like I said, I know that sucks to hear a huge number or lose files, or, I've had a woman like lose her like grandfather's voicemail because she didn't know how to back it up before it was wiped. And it's like, those times are so tough. And it's hard to empathize with technology, to be like, it's gone, like, here we go. But when it gets busy in the summer with the older folks and the locals, and then during the summer or during the school year, it's pretty consistent. I would shocked to hear about a day in the world that nothing was broken. So it fluctuates, but it's a good rotation.
Yeah, I'm like super impressed by just working in that type of area. Help me when I was working the help desk. I worked for a couple of places, but I was literally just dealing with our internal customers, employees, so not like just anybody off the street. So when you're dealing with coworkers, fellow employees, you have an expectation of how everyone is acting, and at the end of the day, they're not footing the bill if something needs to be replaced. So there's not that heightened emotion there.
That's how it is, like, at my full-time job, which is the help desk, it's definitely that. It's like, I know these personalities, I know these people, I know who I could send like a KB article to and they won't get mad. And then I know the people that it's like, I could ask a question. It's like, it's not turning on. Okay, I could reply, but I know like it's just going to go down a rabbit hole and I'll just go over there and take care of it. It'll be done way quicker if I do that. So the personalities, when it comes to like the admin areas that I work, you get a better feel of how to help those people, and it progresses over time because they're always going to have issues. But the new customers, it's a shot in the dark of like, are they going to listen? Are they going to understand? Are they going to be like understanding of what's going on? So it's just always just being mindful of that. And even if it's like, I don't want to see your vacations photos from like 2007, I'll still do it. If it means it was a good experience, because like technology will make you cry every day if you let it. And I'm sure those people coming in are having that day. So it's like, who am I to make it, pile on top of that?
So for your full-time job at the help desk, how many people work on the help desk with you? And do you work like normal 9 to 5 hours, or like what is the organization?
It's a school corporation, I can say that much. So we have different schools. So we have help desk techs at each of those schools, and then there's like the complex of like the behind the scenes people. If you like go to school, you don't even think about these people, but you've got like transportation and admin things and the food production and all that kind of stuff. I take care of all the adults, is like what I like to say, even though you got teachers in schools. But I do a lot of that, and in my little help desk bubble, I take care of 5 buildings, so it's a lot of people.
So
I couldn't
for your area. So for your like 5 buildings. Are you, when you get somebody's problem, are you taking it from like start to finish, from obviously the initial troubleshooting, but are you potentially working on their hardware if it needs to be updated? Like, how far will you go into fixing an issue?
Yeah, it definitely just like, I've got like my tiers of people behind me. So password resets and like the bigger things when it comes to technology, just like keeping things up and moving, keeping the wheels squeaky. I don't dabble in that too much, but they're there if I need them. I just move my problems up the ladder if I need them. But it's a mix of both software and hardware there, where it's driver updates or software updates, or right now we're enrolling everybody in 2-factor authentication. So it's as, if you know what it is, it's great. It's easy. But to some people, it is the weirdest thing, and they don't understand it and how it works. But so I deal with that. And then, if somebody breaks their computer screen, or I just replaced a Dell Latitude 2-in-1 the other day because it popped out, and we have an iMac that I requested an SSD upgrade for. So I give advice to basically the people higher up than me, and then it goes into like ordering and like kind of take it from there. Mm-hmm. But nobody really sees those people. If there's a ticket, it's going to be dealt through me, unless it's like, like I said, payments or just bigger problems that I don't have access to. But it's a little bit of everything. Yeah.
So the first thing you mentioned was password resets, and I just have a quick funny story, and then I want to hear if you have any like funny stories, password reset or otherwise. When I worked at the help desk, obviously we would get a ton of password resets, right? So I was like, always repeated the same setup, 1 capital letter, lowercase letter, numbers, and then I literally had somebody one day ask me how to make a capital 1. And I was like,
what?
I'm sorry,
Those are fun days,
though. Character on the 1? No, I want a capital 1. And I was like, I'm done for the day.
Wow, yeah.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, though. Like, that's such it's such an easy request, because, like, it's not real. But it's also, like, it just, like, stops my brain from moving and being like, is this happening right now? This is real. Like, I've seen people accidentally, like, I don't know, like, when it comes to toners or printers, things like that, it's like, there's one place to put them, but for some reason, like, it gets, like, one instance, I just had one woman who, like, she like put her hands all over the toner, and so it was like ink everywhere. She didn't know where it was going. She was not prepared to put it in, and it's like, what are you doing? Like, I don't know. I would just love. I always say like I'd love to be in the brain of the end user, but then the joke is you come home, a mechanic can't fix his own car, so I come home and I'm like, you know what? I do know what it's like, so I understand. It's yeah, it's when you're in the zone, it's like you don't have time to not know. I've had people like, can you tell me how to do this? And I'll go over. I'll sit at their desk and I'll literally Google the problem right in front of them while they're talking to me. I'm like, why is this doing this? And they're like, well, I could have done that. I'm like, well, that's cool to know. Yeah.
How often would you say you use Google during an average day?
A lot. It's never a closed tab. It's always open. I do, like, I'm trying to make my own KBs as well, like my own little cheat sheets of like, this might be in the future or it keeps happening. And this is a really good article. I'm just going to throw this in here. So it's never closed, that's for sure. But I do, my guilty pleasure when it comes to tech help, and people are going to probably roast me for this, but I'll Google the problem. And if if it's not quick enough for me, I add Reddit to the end of it. And because that's real end user, that's real people having real problems on the internet. It's not just a Google article. Like somebody was like, this is happening and this is how I fixed it. So I feel like the results are almost better using Reddit, but that's just me. But it also could be completely wrong, and then you mess everything up.
Yeah, so Reddit is a great tool, but you're right. Sometimes you got to watch the solutions. Like I'll read the Reddit articles where it gives you like a step by step, like, hey, this seems to be your issue. This is what you go through. Mm-hmm. But the second a link is put up in a Reddit, or like, hey, here's an executable file, or here's a file that if you just use this file, it'll fix it. You're like, no. And unfortunately, you know it, you all know it. My customers all just click on everything, so it doesn't matter. It's like they Google cat food and they'll click the first thing that they see just because it said cat food. That's what they were looking for. Not well knowing that it literally is just, it's malware. So I don't know. People are click happy and I don't understand that. I think maybe it's instant gratification. I have no idea. I don't get it.
Yeah. I think it's more impatience just because they want to find an answer and they're just like, let's take it. And a lot of people will say that they are aware of like viruses and scams and stuff like that, but then like once you're like, I think you have to be in that position to actually understand it, and once you are, you don't know what it is. Like, oh, you get the emails of like, hey, this is scam prevention, and this is what to look out for, but it gets, like we grow every single day with technology, so it's like you really don't know what to prepare for, and once you're in that position, it just happens. And I totally understand that. It cracks me up. I'm always like, how'd you do this? But I understand the rabbit holes.
I run an MSP now, so I deal with the gamut of everything. Mm-hmm. But like, I don't really deal with help desk stuff anymore. I have a guy that works for me, and he deals with a lot of that stuff. But like, so my funniest story is so dated, it's probably not even funny anymore. But it's a relevant story that just shows the psyche of intelligent people. I had just given a woman a brand new computer in New York in 2002 or 2003. Okay, so we're talking a couple years ago, right? Mm-hmm. And brand new computer, showed her how to use it, walked away. I get this emergency phone call like 8 o'clock in the morning, and this woman is screaming in my ear in a New York accent because I was in New York. And I'm not even awake yet because it's 7:30, and anybody that knows me will tell you that 7:30 for Ray doesn't work. So I'm just like, okay, I'll be there. Fortunately, I was living in the building where it happened, so I went downstairs and I looked, and there was just this giant puddle of coffee everywhere. Like, so I looked at this lady. I'm like, what happened? And she just looks at me. She goes, well, I tried to use that new cup holder you gave me, and it broke. And I looked at her. I'm like,
blamed you.
Cup holder? What the hell are you talking about? And she goes, that black tray thing. I pressed the button. It came out, and it had multiple grooves. So I thought it was for different size cups. I'm like, yeah, that's for a CD. She goes, you can put those in computers? I'm like, well, you sure as hell can't put coffee in a computer.
Oh my gosh.
That's so funny, because I remember I was thinking about that story earlier, and I'm like, whose story is that? Because that was not one of my customers.
Yeah, that was a client. I used to work at Senior Living when I lived in New York, and that was one of my properties. One of the marketing women, she got a new computer and thought she would use the cup holder to hold her not little cup of coffee. It was like a 40-ounce mug of coffee.
To be fair, it's round. Look, it could be construed as a cup holder. Just trying to give her the benefit of the doubt.
And like, didn't all the cup holders in those cars back then, like, they all kind of look like that too? So it's fair.
So what you're saying is it was a poor design choice
that was
by
your
Dell.
fault.
Yeah, it was obviously our fault. So, do you have any other stories like that are a little bit more current? Because obviously, that story's 20 years old at this point, but it's still pretty funny.
I feel like I definitely have some that stand out. It's just always like they surface throughout the evening. I'll wake up and be like, oh my God, I remember this. My favorite ones usually are, though, and it sounds such like a meme, but it's so real, but it's the women or the men who have lovers overseas. And it's like, it's not, it's so hard to tell them, no, they don't. And to be the person to break that news, because like then it's like, all downhill from there. It's like, they got to change passwords and change accounts and things like that. Mm-hmm. But I had a woman come in, and I forget the person's name. I'll just say Daniel. She was like, hey, like, I've been talking to my friend Daniel. My phone's like not been working very well. And I was like, okay, like static problem, whatever. And basically she had Daniel calls while we're talking, and he's from overseas, and he's like, where are you right now? And she's like, oh, I'm at the Apple store fixing my phone. So like, I don't know what she was trying to do, but and he was like, well, what are you doing there? You should probably go back home. And it was just this back and forth, and come to find out that like she was like sending him money, and I had to I took the phone gently out of her hand, and I just hung up, and I was like, you need to block this number and never speak to this man again. Like, I understand it too. And it's like such a sad reasoning, of why, especially older people are attacked like that. But it's like funny in the moment, because you're like, come on, lady. But it's sad at the aftermath of it all. But the biggest funny stories are always the people that have the not safe for work things up when they come into a repair store. I think that, that you knew where you were going today, so you double check some things, but whatever.
I actually had that experience once. I was remoting in to help somebody, and like...
It was me.
It was very not safe for work, and I was like, well, how do I disconnect quickly enough? And I'm like, can you please close anything that you have open? I said I was connecting to you.
I think that's probably the most awkward story I've had, is I had a mom bring in her son's phone because he was like in college or something, and he'd come home for the weekend. And it was like the Wi-Fi wasn't connecting at home, so it meant it had to be the phone. So I tested it to our Wi-Fi, and I usually open up Safari, and it'll load the last page, and I'm like, there it is. And I've never did that. I did the normal stuff, and I just laid it down so quickly. I've never done it. Shoot, we kind of just exchanged glances and went on our way. I was like, man, I don't know. To be her, I was embarrassed, but to be the mom, I was like, could not be me. But those are the biggest ones, and I don't have a problem with it anymore. There are some ill will people who will do it purposely. But the ones that don't do it purposely, you give each other that glance where it's like, we acknowledge it, but we don't acknowledge it. And we have a good laugh.
So very recently, you just reminded me of a story. So we put in a firewall for one of our customers. And that firewall filters out traffic. It doesn't allow certain things to go through. I get a help desk ticket, can't access websites at work. I'm like, okay. So the first thing I do is I go look at the logs just to see what sites this person was going on and see what was blocked. I take a screenshot and I send it to him. I'm like, yeah, you shouldn't be doing that stuff at work. It's blocked on purpose. Do you want me to fix this problem or escalate it to your manager, or do we just want to pretend this never happened? Mm-hmm. And he goes, well, it's not just those websites. I was like, yeah, keep reading. The entire list is in the screenshot. There's nothing on this list that you should be accessing at work. I was like, you want to continue this conversation, or should we just end it here?
Yeah, he should just be like, I'm going to leave end screen.
Yeah, and the answer was, have a good day, Ray. I'm like, okay, cool. We'll just end that one.
I've had that problem too. It's like I'll get a ticket and it's like I can't, because it's like they have credentials specifically for their employee access, and it's like you sign in through the Wi-Fi on that, and you've got like the whole certificates and all that go with that. But we've had at least one instance where like they'll sign in with their personal information, like they're trying to get around it somehow, and they're like, it's not working, and I can see that log of like it's a personal account they're trying to log in with, and I'm like, are you trying the right credentials? Like, are you doing everything right? And I don't call them out on it right away, and then usually they're like, oh, never mind, I fixed it, because I think they know. I mean, you have to know, because I feel like a majority of the time it's not IT won't know about it. It's how much does IT know that I'm doing? Like, I don't think I think they go overboard of what they think we do. Because I promise, we're not sitting there looking at your history logs of like Pinterest shopping and all that kind of stuff. Like, whatever. We might get something that's going to strike, and pull up a red flag. But like, it's so annoying that people will look at Facebook during the work day if you're like where I work. And they're like, it's not working. It's like, I'm not a Facebook tech. I don't know. But we also don't care. It's like, whatever. You do your job, I'll do mine. But like, don't be like so worried that I'm spending my free time looking through your logs. We don't have time for that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how your help desk works or how most help desk works, but generally speaking, we're not watching anything anybody's doing ever until there's a problem. And that's what the logs are for. Then it's like, okay, cool, we can go see what you were doing.
Yeah.
And that's what we're looking for. We're looking to see, okay, what could potentially be causing this problem? But I don't know about you, Trish, but like, I could give two shits what people are looking at. Like, I don't care what people are doing as long as it's not impacting the business.
I think of any logs is basically like an audit trail for those reasons. Like, I'm just thinking about our EMR that we use. Everything you do in there is audited, right? But we're not looking at it. We only look at it if something's happened. And okay, well, why did you click here? Why are you on your mom's, friend's patient medical record here?
Yeah.
But otherwise, just even know, like in that capacity, it's really just, when something happens, that's what it's there for. But yeah, we don't have time to be looking at what people are doing.
Yeah. And I guess if you're having those thoughts, then it's like, double think what you're doing. But most of the time, they're just worried about the little things. And it's like, I couldn't even get bored enough to look through those if I wanted to.
And that's the thing, too. It's like so many times, like you made an example of like beer and a keyboard. Mm-hmm. Like, I legitimately had a customer yell at me, like, there's no chance that I spilled something in this computer. And I'm like, okay. I can smell it, but okay, cool. Yeah. I'll open it up and I can literally drop it out and I'm like, this is beer. In fact, it smells like Coors Light. You could be doing better. And I like to make jokes like that. It's just like, I don't care. It's like, if you would have just said to me, hey, I spilled a beer in my keyboard, there's no troubleshooting. It's like, okay, I know what I need to do now. It's like, let's save us both some time. We don't care.
Yeah. I can assist you so much better if you just tell me. I'm not I'm not your mom. I'm not going to be mad. Like, you're not paying for it. But, yeah, like it helps us a lot. Yeah, they just get nervous, I guess.
Yeah, I actually shout out to one Apple tech, and this was like years back, maybe like 5 or 6 years back. My son jumped into a pool with his phone, and I'm like, oh great. So we go to the Apple store, and they were like, did you get it wet? Obviously, the first question that they asked, and he was like, I'm going to be honest, yes. And they were like, okay, and then they still replaced it. They were like, just because you were being honest. And I was like, yes.
Yeah. I'll go the extra mile for you if you're just going to, like, cut the troubleshooting in half. Like, I will go everywhere. But, like, I'm not going to sit here and, like, say, like... I mean, I'm not there to watch you spill the beer on the keyboard, but, like, I can piece it together here. So it's like, just say it.
All right. So switching gears a little bit here. So want to talk a little bit about your social presence and, how we came to find you. So again, somebody in our community reached out and said, hey, there's this girl, FirewallFox, you've got to check out her content. And I got to tell you, like, I looked it up and I was pissing myself laughing. Some of your videos are so funny and in today's society, like you're nailing it on every level. Like you are getting like these really quick, like 10-second videos. Like the one clip that you did the other day, it was your Three Max, and I forget the movie, but I know that it was like Surfs Up or something was where the soundbite came from.
Yeah.
Like, these are my ladies. I was, and I'm not a Mac guy, but pissing myself. I thought it was so funny. So where did you decide, or how did you decide to get into doing that? How did it just explode for you? Like, tell us all about like your social online life, I guess is what are we going to call that? What's the best word for that?
Social
media presence.
Yeah.
All right. Well, you both made that sound a lot easier than I thought it was. God damn. All right.
I didn't download TikTok. That's where majority of all, like, that's where everything of this started. But I never downloaded TikTok. And then halfway through COVID, I was like, I can't do this anymore. I'm so bored. And I'm just generally a very creative person. I just have a lot going on up here. And I just started making TikToks, and I just was having fun with it. The very first one I ever posted got like 1,500 views, and I was like, oh my God. So I got a little serotonin boost. So I just kind of took it from there. And it was just like everyday stuff. It was, living my life. And I had worked in IT before I kind of switched my content over, and like having education in marketing, I was aware like I needed something that kind of like, I can make topics here, there, but I needed something consistent. And I like had these thoughts every day in help desk or at the break fix store, and I was just like, God, like, am I the only person going through this? Like, there's no way. Like, I get the same questions like at least like 4 times a week at my store, so somebody else has to be asking that elsewhere. So I don't know. I just decided to portray the everyday life of an IT technician, and the very first time I did that, I could tell that people really related to that, and it didn't make me feel so alone, and it became really fun to like see other people's stories. It became like a network of just knowing you're not alone and wanting to like maybe cry yourself to sleep that night because it was a bad tech day. But I don't really know why I didn't do it sooner, but I knew I needed a niche, and I ran with it. But like I said, I just really enjoy now. It's like really enjoy seeing the stories, and like in the comments, it'll be like, hey, what do you recommend for this? And it's like, sometimes I don't answer them all, or they get lost, and it's like, I'll see other people reply. So it's like, if you're asking me something, whether it's on my Discord or my Twitch or my TikTok, it's like, I may not get to it, but I know that somebody else is going to help you, and you're going to find an answer. And I really love that. And I don't know how I built it, but I did. And I'm super thankful for that. But other than that, when it comes to like the whole TikTok side of it all, my favorite compliment is people always tell me, they're like, I don't know how you're taking these sounds that I see like on my FYP all the time, and it's usually the same scenarios, and you're like just ripping them into the IT world. And I just hear a sound and I'm like, how can I relate that to this problem that I had today, or this problem? And it I don't know, it just comes so naturally to me. But I do keep a notes app, so if I have like I have one of those like IT problems where I'm like, God, I cannot believe this was real. Like, I'll write it down. So it's like, this happened today. This is crazy. And I'll go back to that. But majority of the time, it's really just off the top of my head. And those are the ones that shock me, because I'm like, that just came like off the top of my head that I had that problem. And now like 1,500 of you have that same problem. Like, what do you mean? So it's very reassuring. It makes me feel good that even on the bad days, like, we'll get through it.
So we're going to start using your comment section as well to look for solutions to our problems.
Yeah, it's a great network of people, and that's kind of such a scary thing. And I mean, people talk about it. It's like when you do grow bigger on the internet, you can run into a lot of problems. And knock on wood, I've been very blessed and very, very thankful that like everybody's been so kind, even when they do know that I prefer Apple, but they are very kind, and they're kind to each other, and that's literally all you could ask for a bunch of internet strangers. And like that's bare minimum, but like it's the internet nowadays, so it's like it's a lot to ask. So I'm very grateful for the community that supports me and pushes me every day, but also supports each other.
Well, that sounds really familiar. I think technology worldwide sounds a lot like that. Like, we built this a year ago at this point, and it's the same thing. We've got all these channels and all these people in the group, and it used to just be me, Pierce, Marco, responding, Brandon responding to these questions that people had, and now all of a sudden it's like we don't even need to answer questions anymore. People ask stuff all the time in all the channels. They'll be like, what is the right security camera for this project, or what is the right door lock for this project, or why does Ray talk so goddamn much? And it's like there's so many questions that get answered by so many other people in the community now. It's like, okay, my job at this point is to keep growing the community and to make sure some people keep their mouths shut sometimes and don't say bad things. But other than that, like, I'm not the resource anymore. Trish is not the resource. You are not the resource. The community is the resource, right? So somebody somewhere has the answer. And, you've only been our Slack community for a little while now, but I think it's funny. Like, you should try that. The next issue that you have, ask the question in our Slack forum and see if somebody's already got an answer for you.
I will interject. Please use the correct channel, or
Yes.
you will hear from Mr. Klein here.
I understand. I feel the same way in my Discord. So it's like,
Yeah,
that doesn't go
same.
there.
And thread. Please thread. Whew.
Yeah. That's crazy. That's like a whole other thing is, besides like just the people I've met and talked to and what I've built, like I remember there was one TikTok I made and it blew up and I was like, okay, marketing brain was like, I need to do more than just sit on my TikTok. So I streamed that night. That was my first stream. I had at least steady 50 viewers for the first time. I think that my first day of affiliate on TikTok or on Twitch, I hit 200 subs. Like, it was crazy the support that they're willing to show. But on Discord, like I use Discord a little bit. I was like, yeah, I've got friends on there I talk to, but I've never like owned a whole, community on there. I had he's one of my favorite mods of the 5, but I had one of my mods before he was a mod, but he had reached out because like that night after stream, I was like, there's a lot of people on my TikTok. Like I had to go through and like make things private, and it's very anxiety ridden. Like, you're like, oh my God, like I've never done this. What am I doing? But his name's Outraged Pie. But he had messaged me and, calmed me down. He went through and was like, here, when I Google you, this is what I can find, and this is what you need to change. I had 3 channels on my Discord, very, very boring. And if you could see it now, I don't know how he did it. Like, we've got places. If you got a job opening, post it in there. Sure, maybe somebody in there is there. My favorite is the look at this ticket, screenshot, like, what do you mean? Like, what is this a ticket for? We've got, just normal gaming channels. We even have our own ticket system in there. So if there's like a problem that somebody's having in the Discord, they can put in a ticket and one of the mods will claim it. So we've got over 550 members now, I'd say. And it never stops. It's constantly going, but it's just like Slack. It's, hey, this is happening at work, or did you guys see this in the new tech story or whatever? And it's like, it gets talked about. It never ends.
Maybe we should have went with Discord instead of using Slack, now that I'm thinking about it. God damn it.
Yeah, Slack's okay.
Yeah, it has its limitations. I mean, it definitely does. I mean, it's one of those things where sorry, my dog is, dude. He's having a day. It was one of those things that we were looking at that we were like, okay, this is a platform that we know our community already understands and knows, and we know how it can integrate with so many other applications, and that's what we went with.
That's fair.
So, I mean, it is what it is. I don't know if that's where we're going to stay or if we're going to go to something different. But, the good thing is you can always change things, right? You can always grow things. You can always make things better. And I think that's what, we're looking to do. But so again, nobody wants to hear me talk. Nobody wants to see me. So, like, I'm always just trying to figure out, like, how when we post a video on Instagram or Facebook or LinkedIn or wherever, like, how can we draw more attention to it? Again, let's forget that I'm in most of these things, so we should get rid of me. I understand that completely. But like, how does one get 1,000 views on a video or 1,500 views on a live stream? Like, I don't even know how to do that.
I think, I mean, I'd worked on my TikTok before I did really any other social media. I mean, like, everybody has their own personal Instagram and Twitter and stuff like that. And I never was like trying to get on those platforms. But TikTok, I always, you'd see those videos of like how to grow your TikTok. And I never really took them seriously, but it's a niche. Like, because like I can sit here and post about like my favorite food and I went out and got coffee today and then I went shopping. Like, I can do that, but it's, they might see my face on the FYP many times or wherever it is, and it's like, but they don't really know, like, oh, it's just, there's that person again. But like, they see my face and they're like, tech. They like know it's gonna be funny, like they hope so. And that's what I kind of mentioned on my stream the other night, because I do see a rising of a lot of the tech girlies who are coming up with the social media fun. But I feel like, just personally, what I've seen from that is like, we can sit here and like, you know, I don't know. I just feel like when I make IT content, it sounds so bad, but it's because I'm making fun of the problem. And it's like, I'm sure there's some limitations to people's works and things like that. So I understand why you can't 100% do that. But like, I don't want to, oh, actually, I think the best way I put this, let me try this again. If you like search just tech on TikTok, you're going to get like how to, you know, forward your Gmail. How do you do this? Very almost end user stuff. And me and you are not that audience. Like, we know how to do that, but I'm going to get it because it's still tech related. So I'm kind of targeting the other side of it. It's like, I know that you know how to turn on a computer. You don't need me to tell you that. But we can sit here and go over why ABCD is super annoying. And I think that's kind of what draws people in. And that's really the niche. Besides it just being tech, it's just more like poking fun of like the everyday headaches. And that makes you stand out. But with Instagram and Twitter and all that stuff, I don't know how people organically just like start on those platforms and grow. Besides Reels, I guess Reels are becoming a really big thing now on Instagram. I haven't really got into that, but I enjoy it. My TikToks are mostly tech, but when you go over to my Twitch, I kind of make that my time to be like, I'm not just like the IT girl. Like I'll sit here and we spent 2 hours on stream last night looking at Zillow houses. Like, I'm a good time. I'm a party on stream. Like I want to, you know, after you had your bad tech day, I want you to come here and you don't have to think about your computer or whatever the ticket was. Like, we can sit here and do dumb stuff. But I'm much more personable on my Twitch, and I spend a majority of my time chatting just because, like, I want them to know that, one, I'm beyond thankful for them for rising me to where I'm at. I literally couldn't do it without them. But I also, you know, I want them to know that, like, you know, I'm not just here for clicks, and I'm here for, you know, I'm here to build a community, and I'm here to grow each other, whether it be career advancements or just personal interests. Like, I just want to keep making sure everybody's putting in where they can. But I would also say, like, the biggest thing I'm thankful for, I mean, like, it's great to have exposure, and it's great to, you know, make a name for myself. But like I said, the connections of my mods, the day I made that Discord, there were so many people, and I was like, I need mods. And I chose I chose 5 random guys I'd never known. I don't know who they are. I really don't know much about them. They are the best of friends. I've never seen a group of people get on a voice chat and like act like they've known each other their whole lives. And they support me and they encourage me, but they also will tell it to me straight if I'm messing something up, which I appreciate. I need that. But we're such good friends now. We're planning a trip to meet each other in August. So it's like a whole thing. We're family at this point, and I love it. I love people. I love talking. I love relationships. It's just, it's fun to be acknowledged and have the social media attention. But I care so much more about the deeper meaning behind it. And it took time to build, but I'm really glad I stuck through.
So now that you are where you are professionally, both with your social media presence and, with your day job. Where do you see yourself in 3 to 5 years? Do you, really enjoy the social media aspect and think that you'll want to keep down that path? Are you thinking about staying in IT? Because I know you said your degree really is in marketing.
Yeah, I always wanted to be a social media manager because I just was like, maybe I'm just not doing my own marketing right. So if I had a choice, being a full-time streamer is like really like my dream to do. Um, and if that does not work out, I will still always stream. But I really kind of, and you're gonna call me crazy for this because it's such a help desk thing. I want to run like my own like help desk business in a way, but it's like very on-call stuff where it's like, you know, your grandma's printer is not printing, like, let me sit there, I'm just sitting here and, I'll get tickets and I can remote in and do stuff. Just basically my own IT on demand. I think that's super helpful because it's like, I don't know, maybe I haven't sought it out very well, but I personally don't see that often. It's like I'm either going to Best Buy or I'm talking to like, a corporation who, that tech works for. It's like, again, it's the person, it's the connection that I really enjoy. So I think it would be super fun, and we've got the knowledge, so I think it could take off a little bit, but just have the demand. But yeah, streaming full time would be a dream, and it always cracks me up because like I'm still very new. I'm still in the nurture stage of it all, but like my mods and my fans, as people have called them now, I just like don't see it like that. Like it hasn't really set in for me. There's a part of me that's like, if it rises too fast, it won't last. But it's just like I can't get in that headspace of like I'm a social media person and like this is what I do. And that goes along with like brand deals and stuff like that. Like when I had first blown up on TikTok, I was taking anything. If free pair of socks, sign me up, absolutely. But now it's like I trust these people and I hope they trust me back. And it's like I get sponsor opportunities that pay well, and it's like I could probably be a full-time streamer if I did that, but it's just not worth it because I'm gonna lose the people that will actually watch me for me because I just want to sit here and sell things, and it's like I don't want to do that to them. So when I do get sponsors, I really check out the brand. I kind of think about my audience and like would it benefit them, would it benefit me, like kind of things like that. I really think about everybody in the situation, so it's super important to me.
So you just had posted yesterday, and we reposted it on our site, that you are working on a potential sponsorship deal. And can you talk a little bit about that?
So it's a half and half brand. They just recently bought a different, I can't say the name, but sure. I bought the others. They bought another company and merged it with their own. But basically, it's a custom controller company on one side, and then they do custom keyboards, mouse pads. If you've seen like the custom mouse pad ads on TikTok that's blown up, you might have right idea. And wall art, which is like, that's all the stuff I love. I love wall art. I love a cool keyboard. And who doesn't want to make a custom controller? So, and we've talked about, making things a little bit more customizable for me and my fans. So I think that would be super fun. I don't think I'll ever be a merch kind of gal, but if I could partner with people and maybe, have some things go on that way, I'd be super excited to do that. But yeah, I mean, that's 95% of my audience is tech people. So I'm not going to sit here and sell you lipstick because who wants to hear about it? Not me.
I mean, I do.
Well, I guess.
No,
Those are the 1% usually, but
yeah, I know. No, that's really cool. I mean, it's great to see somebody that is, my niece, Trish knows my niece, and she has aspirations. She's 12 now. Like that's what her goal is to be like an influencer. Mm-hmm. And I want to nurture that, but I also want her to go to school.
Yeah.
So it's like I'm like I love that you want to do that, but you've got to keep getting your grades good in school because it's important, and it's really hard for her to see an influencer making the kind of money that they can make, and her saying, why do I need to go to school? I can make millions making YouTube videos. And I'm like, yeah, but you don't know how hard that work is.
Yeah.
It's really, really, really hard.
It's just like, it's literally just like a shot in the dark of luck, like overnight luck. And it's the same going backwards. Overnight, it could all be gone. It's such a liability, but it's like also, it's really fun to have. And that's why people are always like, have you quit your job yet? Like, I make good money. I'm doing social media, but it's like, I'm only a month and a half in on Twitch, and it's like, I'm able to become a partner and all that stuff. But it's like, I also like have to take myself out of the virtual world and be like, can I pay my bills if I do this? Like, what happened? Like, do I have a backup plan? And having that, having that education and marketing and having experiences in all these different jobs, it's like, I can rely on that. But that is a really good point. Like, cause I was born in 2000, but I grew up right when technology was still really old and gross, and then like also when it took off. So I have a little bit of both sides when people talk about it. But to grow up now and see that, it's like, you can't just sign up to do this. Like, the people have to pick, and if they pick you, you're super lucky, and they also could take it away. It's not your job at the end of the day. It's their job, and you're just there to entertain. So that's why I'm always like, I'm cautious with what I promote. I'm cautious with what I do and who I engage with, because it's like, I want them to trust me and I want them to keep supporting me as much as they already have.
Yeah, I appreciate that. And Trish had, when we were talking offline earlier, had a really good question. Like, how do you choose which brands that you want to partner with? What's your process?
Well, firstly, because like they'll always give you a product. They'll always be like, here's this. Majority of the time, it's product that aligns with like kind of the brand of tech. But it's also like, is it worth it? Like, I've gotten a few things where it's just like, I've gotten a lot of people who have their own AI coding systems that they want me to promote, which is super cool. But it's like, I've gotten so many of those emails where it's like, what makes you stand out? Like, I could promote you and you and you, but like, are you gonna, like, I probably won't make it any different because it's the same thing. So it's a great tool. But it's a lot of that, of just like, is it good for the audience? Of course. Is it, and then just like the brand itself, value wise, I try to, I'm going to try and stay away from controversial things as best as I can with the knowledge I have, but that's definitely always going to play a big part. And that's what I always try to get across to my audience. It's like, Raid Shadow Legends offered to pay me this much money, but I'm sorry, like, it's just not my thing. Like, I'm not, as much as it like pays my bills, I think personally in my head that I could get there quicker. I could rise quick and be fine. Or I could take these baby steps and nurture what I'm doing with the people I have and like let that grow. And I'm willing to put in the effort, and I'm 100% willing to put in the time. So it's just stuff like that. It's a matter of, go for it and jump, and like, you're going to lose people, sure. Or, you nurture it and you appreciate it. And like I said, it could be over by tomorrow. So every day I'm like, thank you for being here. And I say it so many times a day on my social media, but like, I'm so thankful.
And I do see that you are very appreciative of the people that follow you. I do see that, and it seems very, very genuine to me. So, and I'm normally pretty good at pulling out people that are just fake and people that are genuine, and you seem very genuine. So, I mean, as far as I'm concerned, as long as you keep staying who you are and staying genuine, I think your brand will keep growing. Mm-hmm. Because you're building that trust, and that's important. Yeah,
because it's also like, I mean, as much as like I want to nurture it for my own benefit, it's like there's some people in this Discord that like that's all they have, and that's okay. Like, internet friends are super cool. I love my mods, but like if something were to happen and like I just, everything was wiped of that, like there's gonna be people that are hurt. Not just like, emotionally because I just disappeared, but like they don't have that connection that they've been building as well. It's not just me building the connection with them, but they're building it with each other. And to just like take that away or have it disappear could be detrimental to a lot of people. not just in my own Discord, but that just means anywhere. If you've got a good following and people, there's a good community, like they rely on that. There's definitely people that just need to, they go to the Discord or they go to the TikTok chat and they're like, that's their time to like be okay. And it would be heartbreaking to me to know that that was gone for them.
It's fair. So, Trish, do you have anything else that you want to ask her?
No, I don't have anything else. I just want to say, I mean, I think everything you're doing is just fantastic, especially just being so like, and I think the one thing that makes what you're doing work is because you're working in tech. You're doing it, right? Yeah. If that's not constant inspiration for content, so I think that's just really awesome. Congratulations on everything that you're doing, and I wish you like absolutely the best.
Thank you so much.
So we've only got a couple like little quick fire questions that we like to ask people, and they're more just like sound bites that you can use. Mm-hmm. So real simple, quick stuff. First thing that comes to your mind, don't think about it, just go for it. Favorite website?
Reddit.
Favorite social platform?
TikTok.
Favorite food?
Cheesy gordita crunch from Taco Bell.
Wow, that was actually very specific.
Yes.
That was pretty good. Favorite beverage?
Red Bull.
Really?
I love Red Bull.
Oh my god. Okay. Favorite historical figure?
I always say, I saw that question before we, obviously did this, and I'm going to stick to what I used to say in pageants, because I had a quick fire question like this, and I went with Abe Lincoln. Don't know why, I just think he's cool. So, Abe Lincoln.
He's tall and he's got a great hat.
Yeah.
I mean, why would you not like him?
Yeah.
So, if you could, I mean, this question's a little weird, but if you could have lunch with any business person today, who would it be? So that could be an influencer, that could be anybody. Who would it be?
A part of me just for the meme wants to say Kim Kardashian, just because it's like, get your ass up and work. But honestly, I'm a huge Swiftie. I'm going to use this time. I'm going to go see her in July. So if you're watching Taylor Swift, please.
That's awesome.
Huge Swiftie. But honestly, her, just because like she really, she doesn't come from a Nepo kind of place. She really worked her way up. She worked out of a rough household. So I understand that, and like what she's created, good God, lady. Like, yeah, that's incredible. I would, music aside, what's your marketing? Like, what are you doing? Like, I would love to know. Because like, I mean, nowadays she doesn't have to market, it's not a question what that name is.
Well, and if you keep doing what you're doing, you're going to be in the same situation, right? You're not going to have to market anymore. It's just people are going to know you.
Yeah.
So, if you could go anywhere in the world, where would it be?
I'd say like Tahoe, just because it's pretty. But my favorite place that I've been is New Orleans. I never got to go during Mardi Gras, but New Orleans is it's just so lively, even like during non-Mardi Gras. It's a lot of movies are shot down there just because of the way it looks. But it's like, it's just good energy. You're never gonna have a bad time. And it's not as hectic as Vegas, so it's a little lower than that. So right in the middle. So New Orleans.
Okay. And any I didn't ask you this in a pre-interview question, but I like to kind of put people off a little bit. So, what advice would you give to somebody that is thinking about coming up and doing the same thing as you?
In social media or in IT?
You're allowed to answer the question any way you want.
I'm gonna say IT. Social media, I think I talked about a little, pretty well. It's a shot in the dark. Like I sat here and I posted TikToks and like I thought I knew what I was doing, but again, it just takes like a group full of people to decide that like it's your turn, and you can't rely on that. So with IT, a lot of people want to know like, should I get a degree or should I just try to find an entry-level job? Personally, I think entry-level jobs are fun. You're going to drown the first couple months because especially if you don't know a lot of IT stuff, but you want to do it, you're going to drown and it's going to be chaotic. But once you get that smooth sailing of it's like, okay, same problem, it's going to be so helpful. And most times, once you know level 1 or whatever the case is, the odds of you within your business, each business is obviously different, but majority of the time in IT, they'll move you up. They don't want you to stay in help desk. They want you to move up, and that's kind of nice in most IT departments. Is like they encourage that, and it gives you time as a tech to like venture out and be like, oh, like in my situation, I'm level 1, but it's like, I've got networking here and programming here and this, and it's like, I talk to them on the daily. I know what they're doing. I see that. And I'm like, I don't want to do that, but I kind of like this. So if you're not willing to, or wanting to put in the energy and time or loans to go to college for something that you're not sure of, because like that's a commitment to be like, I'm going to be in programming, and like, it's not that great personally, but it's just so much nicer to be able to swim on the job than just like go in and be like, okay, this is what I did, but like now I see what that person's doing in IT, and I kind of want to do that instead. So it gives you the time and the resources, majority of the time, I'd say, to figure out your ducks.
I like it. No, it was good. Anything else that you want to share with us? Anything else that you want to tell us?
I don't think so. I'm forever grateful to be on here. I'm super excited. Everybody's been like blowing me up about when this is happening. So hi, everybody. I'm super excited, and I'm so thankful again to be here.
No, and we're happy to have you on. Where can people find you on social?
Usually Twitter and Instagram's the easiest, and that's just FirewallFox100. I've got a link tree, so you can get to the Discord through there. And then TikTok's just firewall.fox. So pretty easy stuff. Other than that, the link trees will help. I know it's kind of basic, but, it'll get you to where you need to be.
You know what?
Serves a purpose. It works.
We use it too, honestly.
Okay, good.
We're so new into this. Like, we're only a year into this, building this community. So that's our website right now. You go to our website, it takes you to a link tree, because that's where it's taking you to where all of our data is anyway. All right, Miss Tricia, where can people find you?
I think everywhere: LinkedIn, Facebook, and Instagram. Everything is just Tricia0711.
I like it. And you can find, well, thank God, because I can't remember anything, so that's perfect. And you can find all things Technology at TechnologyWW. I believe that is all of our handles, or just do a search for TKW. You'll find us. And you can find me, this little guy right here, Libertas Ray, on all of our platforms, LinkedIn and Facebook and wherever else we are at this point. I have no idea. I should know these things better, but I don't. But thank you again. It was so great having you on. It was great to meet you and get to talk to you, face to face, so to speak. And, the community's here for you. And again, thank you for everything that you are doing and elevating your community. It's a really cool thing, and we applaud it. So thank you.
Thank you.